In this video, let's talk about the power of humility. Humility is a power. Being humble is a power. It's the opposite of pride. It's the lack of pride. And what pride is this sense of importance, that I'm important. And it can quickly turn into arrogance where I'm better than others. So it's this big sense of self, of who I am. When it becomes so big, it can become so arrogant, where I believe that I'm better than others. And we see this in the world, that we're very prideful. We're very proud of ourselves, right? When you say that we're proud of ourselves, there's this big sense of importance, and it's like we've built it up. And that's why we always need to accumulate things, more knowledge, more materials, more money, more all these things that we build it up. And kind of the more we have, the, kind of goes to our head. You've heard that before, where we say, don't let it get to your head. Don't let that success get to your head. Right? Because once you start letting things get to your head and really inflating the ego, and that's what pride is, it's a really inflated ego, where we hold ourselves with great importance and we distort our view of the world, where we think that we're higher up than others, that we know everything. What could this person possibly know? I know everything. I can't learn from them. So this is what pride is. And it takes understanding what pride is to really understand what humility is. Because humility is quite the opposite. It's lack of all that stuff. So we don't hold ourselves with too high of importance. We definitely don't think that we're better than others. Humility is more of seeing us that we're equal. It's not thinking less of yourself. It's more of thinking about yourself less. Humility can turn into selflessness very easily, because pride is very selfish. Selfishness is born out of pride. Selflessness is born out of humility. Whereas pride is very limited, because we're only thinking about ourselves. Because we're so selfish, we're thinking about ourselves. It's limited to just this one. Selflessness is infinite, because it's not limited to just one. So we look at humility, being humble, thinking of ourselves less. When we become selfless, we see ourselves as equal to everyone else, to all other life forms. And this is very beautiful, because a lot of other things can come from this humility. Once that pride is dissolved, there's something beyond being prideful, being proud. This is where love can be experienced. Once the pride is let go or dissolved, once that ego is deflated instead of inflated, we can then now perceive love. And if I asked you, what would you rather? Would you rather be proud of your kids or love your kids? We see this all the time with a lot of people. I'm so proud of my kids. Why do we have to be proud of our kids? Why can't we just love our kids? I'm so proud of myself. Why do I have to be proud of myself? Why can't I just love myself? It's this holding ourselves is this such great importance. And then we have to prove to ourselves, we have to prove to our parents, we have to prove to our friends, we have to prove to our community, to society, that we're something, always trying to hold it up. This is pride. Causes a lot of stress, causes a lot of conflict within ourselves. Whereas humility, it's the letting go of pride. A humble person, you can't it's like they're invulnerable. There's nothing to lose. A prideful person, there's so much to lose. And because there's so much to lose, they're so vulnerable. So they're always on the defense. If you look at this, people who are very prideful, they're always defensive. They're always defensive because they're always defending what they have. And they could be prideful for their positions, prideful for their possessions, prideful for their beliefs, prideful for... There's so many things. Because everything is seen to someone with pride as like a gain, like they have to gain things. And it's these things that they're attaching to that makes up their sense of self. And if any of those things that they possess are threatened, like losing a house, losing a business, losing a relationship, losing a title after their name, then they're always threatened. So you see that pride is a very big limitation. And when we let go of this limitation, then we experience humility. And humility is very much like this beginner's mind. It's a very open mind. It's a very open mind. And it sees everything fresh, without the judgments, without assumptions, without conclusions. Pride comes with all the judgments and assumptions and conclusions. It thinks that it figures everything out already. There's no reason for me to attend this seminar. What can I possibly learn? I know everything, it kind of says in the background, the chatter of the mind. So it already goes in. If it goes into the seminar, it's going in with a closed mind. It's going in with a mind that thinks it knows everything. Someone that's humble, humility, goes in as a beginner. I don't know anything. Let me see what I can. I'm open to learning. I want to learn something new. This presenter is the teacher, and I'm going to come as the student who knows nothing, who has everything to learn from this teacher, and I'm open. I'm open to learning. So it's with this beginner's mind that the beginner's mind is so open. And it's this opening, I've talked about this in other videos, this openness that allows us to expand and allows us to increase our capacity to experience life. The more open we are, the larger our capacity, the bigger our capacity to experience life. When we're closed, we don't experience much of life. Our capacity is much smaller when we're closed. If we become fully open, the capacity is infinite. And it's the ego that's actually the state of closed. As we open up to full consciousness, we're wide open, fully expanded, infinite. And that's what we find is our true nature. But it's this closedness that pride closes us. Pride is a closed mind. It's hard to teach someone who's too proud. It's hard to teach people who are prideful. It's hard for prideful people to learn anything because something in the back of the mind says, I already know it. And they're not willing to let go of their own beliefs and the past and ideologies and concepts and dogmas and paradigms and all positions and all different things. So it's again, like I've said in other videos, is all these things to actually empower us. It's actually a letting go of what's blocking that power, what's actually a leakage of that power. We become more powerful the more we let go. It's counterintuitive to the mind. The more pride I let go of, the more I let go of the pride, the more I find myself more powerful. I'm open to learning things. I'm open to perceiving new things. Things that are always there in front of me, it's just I can't see because of the pride. The pride makes me blind. I can't see. I can't see reality for what it is. Because I'm just looking through my lens of my own judgments, my own criticisms, my own assumptions, my own beliefs, my own insecurities, my own wounding, my own conclusions. And these are huge limitations. But a beginner's mind, truly humble person, it's as if you're living life like as a newborn. Like you don't know anything. So everything you don't know. You don't really know what things are. Everyone would agree, this is a desk. You go, what is this? Well, it's either some sort of, like fabricated wood. It's probably not real. Maybe a little bit. Who knows? I don't know. So is it a tree? But then we don't even know if that's actually a tree. It's just a name that we've given to that what we should call a tree. The word tree is literally a label formed out of language that we all agree to say this is a tree. But then in another language, it's called something different. So all the names that we give everything are essentially just labels that we've agreed to. But what it actually is, what the tree actually is not the word tree. So we don't even know what that is. We need the tree to live. We need trees on the planet in order to breathe. We need water, but we don't even know what water is. We don't know what trees are. This is the state of beginner's mind where you don't know. And it's out of this not knowing that then your intelligence is through the roof. It's raised. It's heightened. It's functioning at its peak. When you think you know everything due to pride, then your intelligence is really low. Because you're in that kind of comfort zone, the known zone. But when you step out of the known zone, through curiosity and humility, I don't know. I want to know. I want to investigate. Then your intelligence is at its peak and it functions. This is what people say when they say, like, empty your mind. Empty your mind of all the assumptions, beliefs, conclusions, dogmas, paradigms, ideas, concepts, all that stuff. When you finally empty the mind, then you have that empty mind, that beginner's mind, like a child. When you're looking now at the world, but you don't really know what anything is, so everything's this wonderment. And you would want to live a wonderful life, right? A life full of wonder, a wonderful life. So you see that actually to live a wonderful life, you'd have to experience the wonder. You'd have to wonder all the time. But when we're so caught up on what we know and we're holding on to all what we know, which a lot of it is just all book smarts, then it actually blocks our perception from actually experiencing reality directly. Because all we're experiencing is just our thoughts about life. We're not experiencing life directly. We're just experiencing our thoughts about life. It's like it's like a intermediary, something that's in between reality. And the more that we're holding on to, then it's this bigger wall this bigger separation, this bigger distortion. But if we remove all those, then we're experiencing reality directly. Then we're experiencing life directly. And this can only happen from a truly humble mind, from pure humility. That's why it's said that the highest form of wisdom is not knowing. Knowing that you don't know. That's true wisdom. And that wisdom is born out of humility. True wisdom can only be born out of humility. Because until we let go of all those things that we think we know, then we're not capable of really learning anything new. Because if you're holding on to a bunch of things and I say, here, how about this? You can't really accept it because you're holding on to everything that you think you know. In order to accept it, in order to look at it, investigate it, you have to let go of the things that you already know. You have to put them down. You have to let go of them. Let me put that down. Okay, thank you. Well, I don't know now because this is now contradicting my other stuff that I was holding on to. So now I have to use some discernment. What is what? This other stuff, was it actually my direct experience or did I just read it in a book? A lot of us, we know things because we've read them somewhere. We haven't actually truly experienced. It's not our direct experience. And if it's not direct experience, then it's just kind of hearsay. It's someone else's experience that we're just believing in, but it needs to be our direct experience for true wisdom. True wisdom is out of direct experience. And humility is that bridge. Humility is the bridge to a lot of higher states of consciousness. Because pride really, it's like the top. It's like the top of the ego. The upper limits of the ego. It's this pride that we need to let go of. And a lot of the things that people experience, a lot of the negative things, like being vulnerable, caring what other people think, being overly triggered and defensive, being overly offended. It all comes from this pride. That actually, when you let go of that pride, then you're invulnerable. You're open. You can't humiliate someone who's humble. That's such a power. Most people are walking around and they're afraid of being humiliated. You can't humiliate someone that's humble. It's like there's nothing in them there's lack of that ego to be humiliated. They're fully open, they're exposed. And there's not something to protect, to guard, to defend. All those things, the guarding, the defending, the blocking, the closing, that's because of the pride. So when we let go of that pride, then we can find ourselves more open. And when we're more open, we're allowing life to happen. And when we allow life to happen, we're not resisting life. We're letting life flow. And when we let life flow, then we experience more miracles in our life. We enjoy life. And ultimately, we love life. And that's the power of humility.